Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the stage, Danny Stepper.
He's going the distance. He's going for speed. She's all alone in a time of need.
All right, welcome back. Did everybody have some De La Calle? Stuff is good. I hope they got some new authorizations out there. All right. As we all know, the non-alc beverage sector is exploding with no and low-calorie options, reported to be an $11 billion market in 2025, expected to increase a third in 2026. We are really excited to explore the next panel, Racing Past the Buzz of Adult Non-Alc. We are honored to welcome a distinguished group of leaders who are driving innovation in beverages. First, we have leaders from Albertsons Company. We welcome one of the highest energy humans in the grocery sector that I know, Joe Escobar. He began his career over 2 decades ago. Like many of us, he started at the very, very bottom, starting as a bagger at Jewel Osco in Chicago. He has risen through the ranks through sheer dedication and expertise. Currently, he serves as the National Category Director for non-carbonated and carbonated beverages at Albertsons Company. He's also, are you ready for this? He's also probably the only person in this room to have rapped with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
As a father, I'm going to be doing my job. So I told my daughter yesterday that I'm going to meet Maui.
Yeah.
Because my kids love you. My son, Maui's his favorite. And she wanted me to tell you that she is 4. Her name's Hannah. She has a little brother named Lucas.
Have
and
them
they
shut
love
the
your son.
doors.
Hannah and Lucas.
Hannah and Lucas.
Wow. Where's your phone?
Right there.
Let me see your phone.
That way. This one, yes. I actually sing "You're Welcome" to my kids to go to bed every night.
Really?
Every night's how I get my son to fall
Do
asleep.
you know the rap part too?
I do. That's the main part of it.
Hey,
But
Hannah, Lucas, Maui here. I know I look much different than what you're used to, but hopefully you can recognize my voice, so I have a little surprise for you. What can I say except you're welcome? Listen, kid, honestly, I could go on and on. I can explain every natural phenomenon. The tide, the grass, the ground. Oh, that was Maui just messing around. I killed an eel, I buried its guts, sprouted a tree, now you got coconuts. What's the lesson? What is the takeaway? Don't mess with Maui, he's on the breakaway. And the tapestry here on my skin is a map of the victories I win. Look where I've been to make everything happen. Look at that mini Maui, it's tickety-tapping. Good job, man.
Come on, that's awesome. Joe is going to absolutely kill me. He didn't know I was showing that. My brands are being delisted as we speak at Albertsons. Hey, Joe, CAA, WME, and UTA are here. You never know. You could be the next rock. Who knows? Joining Joe is David Spohr, who's the Director of Liquid Merchandising at Albertsons Safeway. David has spent his entire career as in the grocery and adult beverage industries. In his current role, David collaborates with senior leadership merchants at Albertsons across 20-plus banners and 2,200 stores. This is an important guy. He's also the touch point with alcohol supplier teams, beer distributors, spirit distributors nationwide, all to earn Albertsons customers for life. He's a lifelong student of the industry with a W set level and 2 in wine, and I don't know how to say this, a Cicerone level 1 in beer. Also coming to the stage are two key founders in the non-alc space. First is Moy Gwindi, co-founder and CEO of Casa Lumbre Spirits, who are the creators of Amave, a groundbreaking non-alcoholic agave spirit. Moy is a prominent Mexican entrepreneur and innovative in the global spirits industry, where his ventures are characterized by a commitment to authenticity, innovation, storytelling, aiming to bring Mexican traditions to a global audience. He began his journey as the co-founder of Milagro Tequila. It's a brand that's gained international acclaim for its modern approach. Under his leadership, Casa Lumbre has developed a diverse portfolio of distinctive brands, including, but not limited, Ancho Reyes, Monteblos, and many, many others. Okay. Moy is recognized for fostering a culture of creativity, and you'll see why, at Casa Lumbre. He and his team are currently working on their next introductions and continuing to re-energize old categories. By his side, we have greatness. Sir Lewis Hamilton, a 7-time Formula One world champion, racing for Team Ferrari HP, and is considered the most successful in the sport's history, having broken records including race wins, pole positions, and podiums, and awareness of the unique challenges he's faced on his rise to the top as the first and only black working-class driver has made him fiercely committed to using his platform to drive change for future generations. Lewis is constantly challenging himself to grow in new ways. His natural creativity has drawn him to various interests within the world of sports, business, music, and fashion. Lewis is a strong advocate for diverse leadership and ownership with an expanding investment portfolio, including, are you ready for this? The Denver Broncos. With an eye for the next big strategic project, he's proven himself an engaged, dedicated partner and leader of various organizations. This includes Almave, a non-alcoholic agave spirit, which he co-founded alongside Moy. Please welcome me in joining our panel.
Passion got me here. It moves me, challenges me to go beyond the world's expectations, beyond what is known. This is the story of Almave, the first blue agave spirit to capture the true taste and experience of Jalisco without alcohol. Go beyond proof.
Oh, wherever you want. I'll stay here. Why don't you sit here, actually, if you don't mind? It's a little tight. Sorry about that. All right. Welcome, everybody. Give them a hand. Lewis, you're a busy guy. Thank you so much for joining us today. We know you have an extremely busy schedule. He's out of here straight to the plane right after this. Please tell us, what drew you to doing this with Almave?
Well, good morning. Can you all hear me okay? Yes. Get my mic working. So happy to be here. This has been a 3-year process. Growing up in the UK, it's quite a forward-thinking, forward-drinking culture. And I remember as a kid in my late teens being throughout London and enjoying myself in environments. But I remember I'm an athlete, so I've got to be training every day. And I remember the days where I was losing several days in recovery. And I really, really loved tequila. Tequila's been my go-to drink. I love margaritas. And as I've got older and I'm looking for that performance, I'd be out with friends and in the social setting. And I remember and this was before probably the non-alcs were even thought of and out at the time. And I would be having, a Coke or an orange juice, and I felt really awkward in a social setting where all my friends were drinking and I was drinking like a soda. So, and then I started to see that there were some alternatives coming out, and I tried them, and I naturally didn't love them the same as I did a normal spirit. And I'd always wondered why I started to wonder, why is there not an alternative out there? And so I went through this process of trying to find a company that could potentially do it, and that's where I discovered Moy and Casa Lumbre. And so I went out to Mexico City and asked them whether it was possible, and they were like, I don't think this is possible. And I was like, well, I want you to try and figure it out. So I'm also someone that really loves getting involved when I'm creating something, when I'm collaborating with people. I want to understand what the process is in the background. How, obviously I enjoy tequila, but where is it made? How is it made? And so I went to Jalisco, and I got to go through a distillery. Ivan, who's a master distiller, took me through the whole cooking process. And I was like, well, how are you going to figure this out? Because we've got to do this non-alcoholic tequila. And so then that's where we embarked on it. So that was 3 years ago. Then I was traveling to Mexico City and to Jalisco. And it's been really, really fun. From going from the bottle, from all the tasting, to then the first time that I walked into the race circuit in Mexico City with the bottle, and everyone was like, what is this?
Speaking of that, can someone bring us a bottle? We should have one up here so everyone
Yeah.
can see it.
But I really wanted to make sure that the quality was key and taste. I didn't want it to be chemical. That's why we use a real agave plant. So it really is like from the tequila plant. It's just not fermented. So yeah.
Well, you've done a great job. The brand is killing it in Sprouts. And Jack Sinclair, the CEO of Sprouts, was upstairs meeting Lewis, and he had not tasted it yet. And we had to convince him that there was no alcohol in it because it tastes so good, right, Moy?
Absolutely.
So, Moy, this is Casa Limbre's first non-alcoholic venture. Tell us a bit more about the opportunity you identified and how you chose to do this.
Sure, Danny. Good morning, everyone. So happy to be here today. We're super excited on where we're at with Almave, but we have been in the spirits industry for close to 30 years now. We were in the tequila business, in the mezcal business, some Mexican liqueurs as well. So we understood very well the plant, right? The blue agave plant to start. And then we understood also really well the process of how to create distillation processes of tequila, mezcal, and other amazing Mexican spirits. So then Luis came to us with this unbelievable challenge. He said to us, like, okay, you guys understand very, very well the world of spirits. Why don't we do this, but with a non-alcoholic product?
What was your first reaction like?
We felt it was going to be almost impossible to create,
Right.
Because, you know, we knew what we knew and we knew what we didn't know. But, you know, it's Luis, right?
Yeah.
So you say, let's give it a shot. And we had to create a new process to understand very, very well how to capture all of these amazing flavors and aromas that are inherent to the raw materials that are included in tequila, and skip one key step, which is fermentation.
Right.
So we did, we're one of the few ones, if not the only ones, that are produced in a tequila distillery. So it's a non-alcoholic product that uses the blue agave from the fields. We cook it, we mill it exactly the same way we're doing for tequila. Then we skip the fermentation process to avoid the generation of alcohol, and then we go to the distillation. So the end result was quite a nice surprise, but we didn't get it right the first time, right? We had to go through several iterations until we got it closer and closer and closer to where it was a lot.
It was a lot.
So do you remember tasting the first one, Lewis? Did you spit it out? Or?
Yep.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm like a super taster, so I
really?
really didn't like the first one.
Well, I
was
mean,
like,
here it is. It's just absolutely gorgeous, by the way. Super incredible. And we're seeing this massive, you know, resurgence, not resurgence, it's just this total demand for non-alcs, but there's not a lot of non-alc tequilas. Yeah. I think exactly for what you just said, this is really hard to do.
Yeah.
Very difficult.
What's key as well is that this is, it's you know, for me, I still love tequila. It's not about, you know, not drinking completely, and it's just trying to, how do you find a good balance in life? And there are just times where I am in settings and I do want to drink a normal spirit. But then, as I said, I'm racing this week. I'm flying from here to Miami, and obviously I don't drink particularly in my race weeks, but I can still have a non-alcoholic during the week, which is, you know, if I'm at an event with sponsors or with my friends, I can still feel like I'm a part of the social setting with this tequila. And then when I come home from work, I always love to be able to pull a drink and enjoy the aromas and that flavors, but knowing I train very early in the morning, so I like to go running at 5 a.m. And it's not, trust me, it's not a good feeling when you've had a normal drink. But with this, I'm able to put my feet up, enjoy that experience, and really bring it into my life.
It's amazing because it tastes really good. You know, making cocktails back there, it's really good. But you could actually shoot it like a tequila and sip it, and it tastes amazing. It's good to know that you're not drinking and driving, Lewis. Happy about that. So, Joe, are we still friends here?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'll be all
Joe
right.
can rap, huh? How about that?
Not very well. Not very well.
So, Joe, there's a tsunami of innovation in beverage. How does Albertsons determine the placement of items across the store?
Yeah, you know, if anybody knows, we're still trying to figure it out because it's a blurring of lines. I say that jokingly. You think of an item like Almave, right? You know where that customer is going to look for it. They're going to be looking for it within the liquor aisle, within that section for that experience that they want, right? They want that alcoholic beverage. But we've got that blurring of lines of that social aspect and those social tonics, right? Because there are some social tonics that could live in the alcohol department with Dave and what he's doing over there, but they could live within our functional beverage section. So I think we have to meet the customers where they are looking for the items, and understanding that customer and their need state and what they want to experience is how we have to merchandising it in our stores. Yes, there's going to be crossovers between some of those social tonics and the Almaves of the world, but I think it's just making sure we're putting it where they're looking for it. Because everything starts with the customer, with everything we're doing here.
Yep. So David, you're a humble guy, so you won't say it, so I will. You're a very, very important guy in the alcohol world. You know, David, Moy and Lewis talked, you know, about the opportunity they saw here. How does that juxtapose with what's going on and what you're seeing in your stores in this adult non-alc space?
Yeah, it's awesome to be here, and it's cool that we're talking about non-alc because that's actually the only growing part of our alcoholic beverage business these days.
Wait,
so
time out. Did you hear that? That's amazing. The only growing part of their alcohol business is the adult non-alc.
You guys mentioned it earlier on the last panel, but you know, the athletic brewing people, the Heinekens, when they came out with good tasting non-alcoholic beer a few years back, that really opened up the door. That got people being able to drink non-alc and not have it have the stigma of an old Duels or an old brand, you know, the legacy stuff. So people got more comfortable with it. Beer is the big dog in our non-alc portfolio, and customers expect us to have a great selection now. You can't get away with just putting it up in the corner and forgetting about it. You've got to pay attention. You've got to do a lot of work. Non-alc wine is coming on strong, fast growing, tiny piece of the business, but it's harder. It's kind of similar to what we have up here. It's harder to make that experience and the product as good as you want it to be because you're taking out the alcohol, which creates a lot of the nuance with wine, whether it's the heat or the mouth feel and all those, but they are doing a much better job, and that's coming along, and those brands are growing. And then non-alc spirits, it's in our world, it's led by mostly RTDs, ready to drinks. They're you know, in a can. It looks and feels like sparkling water.
Like
to Joe's point, a lot of
like
overlap. But the best-selling segment of pure play spirits in our non-alc is tequila. Is the non-alc tequilas, because I think, to your point, people just want that experience. And right now it is, I mean, it is very, very small, but it is over triple digits growth, so we're excited about it.
So Lewis, I think it's really interesting what you said, and it kind of is unique to what Tom said when he was up here, is that, you know, we call it zebra striping. It means on the same occasion, people are drinking alcohol and non-alcohol at the same time, just to cut down the booze. The problem was, in the past, non-alcoholic stuff wasn't, I mean, you're a fashion icon, but non-alc beers and spirits weren't a badge you really wanted to wear. It was like a stigma to it. But that's changing rapidly. What are you seeing about that, and what role did that play into this? Because people are proud and loud about saying, I don't drink anymore.
Yeah. Well, firstly, I just saw Tom backstage. We know each other really well. And it's interesting because shortly after I had started this, he started going on his journey with creating beer with Bearer. So it's been cool as friends to both be going, you know, because he grew up, I guess, probably going to pubs. I worked in the pub once. I wasn't a good bartender. The bar was very clean.
You're a better driver than a bartender.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. I realized that wasn't my market, but it's really cool as two friends who you know, I've liked tequila and he's like beer, so we've both gone in our different directions, and obviously he doesn't drink at all. But it's been really, as I said, from the first time I started telling my friends that I don't want to drink, and having to come up with excuses as to why. And it was difficult in some of those social environments, where today people are really conscious, more health conscious. Obviously people have to get up and do their job the next day, so now they know that there is an alternative there, which is key. It's like they can still have a drink, but at some point stop and replace it with an alternative, which still keeps you in the social setting. And it's been particularly, obviously, it's very, very diverse, the group of people that are coming to this drink now as well. Yeah. And particularly Gen Z, younger people are really coming into that healthy market, which is great to see.
It's changing rapidly. So, David, I hear some cross-merch opportunities with Biro and Amave in the stores. I could see some.
I saw the partnership forming in the back room.
There you go. There you go. So, Moy, you use agave, right? The core ingredient in tequila, and traditional tequila distillation, but you do not call it non-alc tequila. Explain.
Yeah, well, tequila is a protected designation of origin, right?
Okay.
So, and by having that designation, it also comes with a definition. Within that definition comes the alcohol content. To be able to be called something tequila, you have to be between 35% ABV and 55% ABV. In the case of Almave, clearly we are a non-alcoholic product, so we wouldn't fall within that definition. At the same time, this is an advantage for us because we want consumers to understand exactly when they're grabbing a bottle in the shelf to understand this is a non-alcoholic product, and that blue agave spirit distinction really creates a good experience for the consumers to understand exactly what they're buying.
Awesome. So, Joe, how have consumer purchasing habits changed when it comes to non-alcoholic options? I mean, do you still see the majority around trial and dry January?
It's more than just a one time a year. It's that sober, curious life, right? People are looking for ways to take alcohol out of life. Still want to drink, or what do you call it, zebra striping at parties, but like me personally, I'll go months without drinking, but I want to supplement it with, I still want that feel, right? The bubble in it. So I may drink a Barrel. I might drink a Waterloo or something like that to get that experience. There's customers like that across the industry. We're seeing sparkling waters launch non-alc inspired, right? Mojitos and things like that. But, alcohol consumption, or just think about drinking, it's all about that social piece of it. So you need to be able to take away that stigma and what that is. And we're doing that with this brand here. We're doing it with Biro. We're doing that with, Liquid Death. You look at that, right? You could hold one of those at a party and everyone thinks you're chugging a beer. They did a whole Super Bowl ad about you can drink at work, right?
You can drink when you're pregnant.
You can drink when you're pregnant,
those, yeah.
right? You saw that, but that is where this industry is changing, where it's cool to not drink. The younger generation is continuing to drink less and less, and we as an industry need to continue to evolve with that generation and find what that right aspect is. Some of it's going to be found in the liquor aisle. Some of it's going to be found in the functional water aisle, functional beverages, soda. Everybody's looking for something different to kind of still feel cool while they're out and having that experience.
So, David, since this is kind of new, like how do you merchandise it, right? Because you have traditional tequila. Do you put Amave like right next to it, or is there a dedicated non-alc section? Like, how are you weighing through that? Everyone's trying to figure it out. All the retailers are trying to figure it out.
It's constantly changing. You used to park non-alc beer up above the economy beers and call it good, check the box, move on. Now it gets its own section. It gets its own door if you're indoors, or section in the beer section. Wine and spirits is a little more complicated, and the non-alc RTDs. The best way to sell those is to keep them all together and have it be a destination for the customer so they can find it. We'll do the low alcs in with the core brands in wine and spirits, but in non-alc, we have found that the best way to merchandise it is all together, because customers they're looking for options, and if we put them all in the same place, it says we're in the business. It legitimizes the category.
Interesting. Earlier we had Target on stage saying they used to just put it in a functional set and throw everything in it that they didn't know where to put with, but now that's changing. They're putting modern soda with soda. It sounds like you're on that same journey. So Louis, we mentioned that kids don't drink. I'm old, so kids don't drink like we did when we were younger. But it's not just an age demographic thing. We're also seeing other demographics. What do you think?
Yeah, as I was saying before, it's been really interesting to see. For me, from seeing it, from the idea to then seeing it become this bottle, for me, I'm very, very proud of it. And then to start seeing people experience it and use it. For example, we were just in Coachella last weekend, and it's the last year also, across the 3 weeks, it was the best, the most drunk non-alc beverage on the weekend. And it's really interesting just to see the market, how people are being more conscious in their social environments. And as I said, it's very, very diverse. So we're seeing people from all different backgrounds that are getting involved.
So you're a champion for diversity. And we're seeing not only younger people,
drink non-alc and go towards non-alc, but we're really seeing it at places like Northgate, which is a huge Hispanic chain here.
Yep.
And we're seeing a lot of African Americans drinking. Like, how does that make you feel as someone that's just championed this for so long?
It makes me feel great. I mean, obviously, I've been championing it in my racing environment. So I started racing 32 years ago when I was 8. And it was always my dream since I was 5. But the reason that I've been championing in diversity is because when I'd be at the race, my dad and I were the only 2 people of color there. And I remember we were watching Tiger Woods when he first came in and thought, okay, that's so cool. He's kind of breaking the mold, and different people from different backgrounds will be watching. And then I watched the Williams sisters get to the top, and we're like, okay, maybe when we get to Formula One, we'll do the same thing. And then when you get to Formula One, it wasn't diverse at the time. Again, we were the only people really of color there. And it was really about just creating a more inclusive environment. I'm working on getting young kids into STEM, just knowing that no matter what background you have, STEM can really lead to amazing careers. There's over 40,000 jobs in my industry, for example.
Really?
For example, only 1% come from black backgrounds. And so I'm really
1%?
working with,
Wow.
So we've got now Formula One and the FIA, they've now signed a diversity inclusion charter that my foundation has created, and we're now creating, and young kids are now messaging different individuals that have been on the podium or in the garages, and the Formula One movie is about to come out as well, which is something I've produced.
Oh, you're a
and
producer
again,
on that?
I am, yeah.
Amazing.
And even in that, you'll see there's a lot of women within the team, and there's a lot of space for that, which at the moment has always been a male-dominated sport. So, so when I hear that the people from diverse backgrounds are getting involved and loving drinking Almave, that's making me really happy to hear.
Your story's amazing. I mean, we hear it sometimes here that if you can see it, you can be it.
Absolutely.
And now all these kids are seeing it, and now they feel like they can be it. Man, you should be very, very proud.
Thank you.
Moy, let's get in the weeds on beverage nerd stuff. So let's talk about pricing strategy. Lewis, you can go to sleep. How do you position, to make sure that it's accessible?
Yeah, so back to the origin, we wanted Almave to be authentic, right? And we wanted it to be made from agave in a tequila distillery using the process. So if anything, the cost to make is the same as making a bottle of tequila.
Really?
Yeah, you skip a little bit on the taxes, but that's minimal compared to the overall cost. And then you add that cost up because the process was not a natural process where we could scale up utilizing the tequila process. We needed to create an event. So we see that the fair price for a product that has especially these characteristics that are attending to ensure the authenticity of the raw materials, of the place of origin, and of the processes in the product should be equivalent to a tequila. That's the way we see it. So and it is, I think, the challenge was to confirm that with the product, right?
Right.
If you are looking for a tequila alternative and when you try it, you get water with additives, that shouldn't correspond to the same cost as making it with the true agave and the processes that we're using. So in our case, we see it as competitive tequila because it's basically the same cost.
So price parity, basically, with premium tequila, you have to build a great product, right? Because if people buy it once, it's got to taste like that tastes, or they won't come back and pay that premium. But what Jack from Sprouts is telling me is the velocities and the repeat purchases are insane on this. So congrats, that's amazing. So Joe, drink, taste, functionality, what makes a successful non-alcoholic drink?
Oh man, I think it starts with quality. You just talked about it. If you want to have that experience, you want to make margarita, right? You want that high-end tequila, but you don't want the alcohol. You need product that tastes like it, using the actual agave in it. So it's all about that quality and then building that experience, that emotional experience, right? Anybody that drinks tequila, whiskey, bourbon, whoever Buster is in the room in here, he knows bourbon more than anybody else. But when you have that kind of, we'll call it history or nostalgia of what it is, you want to make sure that what you're drinking in that non-alc is bringing that back, bringing back to that memory of your first beverage, your first drink, and keeps bringing you back and again and again.
Interesting. David, let's talk about distribution for a second. Are you seeing the distributors coming to Albertsons a lot more with a bunch of non-alc options, or are they slower to get to it? where the consumer's at?
No, they're seeing the opportunity. They're in the same boat we are as far as the trends in the bigger alcohol category. Everybody's looking for the high growth, high profit, and the non-alc portfolios fit right in. So we're getting a lot of traction. It's kind of like if you've been to Natural Foods Expo, there's more products than we could ever shelve. We have more options than we can count, but it's good to have options, and then you have to curate the selection, make sure it's quality, taste through all of it, and to Joe's point, you want to give that customer that you don't want it to be less than. You want it to be a high quality experience that they can feel good about, either enjoying themselves or serving to friends.
So, Moy and Lewis, we're seeing retailers like Total Wine, Sprouts, Bevmo, all of who are here today, really embrace the brand, the category. What about on-premise, like bars? Is there a pushback there? Are they afraid to have non-alc options? I heard there's something in New York, Super Bueno or something. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so it's a very dynamic category, right? So we've been learning this year and a half that we have the brand, and we couldn't be more excited on the on-premise. I think one of the biggest and more important places where consumers are able to try an innovation for the first time is in the on-premise.
Right.
So if you deliver them with a great experience, then it's very likely that then they will go to one of these retail locations to buy a bottle to bring it home. So I think what we've seen in accounts like Super Bueno is that repeated business is amazing and that there's demand for it already in the on-premise. And we're seeing these like mirror cocktail lists that are amazing, where you have the product with the alcohol and without the alcohol, but using everything else exactly the same. So again, everything comes back to the quality of the product needs to deliver, because you need to ensure that when you get that experience, it's really that first experience for a lot of consumers that either they're going to love it, or if they didn't like it for the first time, how are they going to come back for the next round, right?
So in the on-premise, are you pushing the bartenders or whoever to do that, or is that just happening naturally?
It's just happening naturally.
It's happening naturally.
Yeah. And it's very strange. It's amazing for me to be in a bar and see it amongst the other bottles. I mean, that's why we design it to be like that. And then, as I said, the amount of people that friends of mine and people that I'm interacting with as I'm traveling the world, who come up to me and talk to me about, hey, me and my family, whether it's at Christmas, whatever, we're just drinking a drink. It's very surreal for me. I honestly, never in a million years thought that I'd have my own beverage like this, and so it's very close to my heart. It's something that I'm really proud of.
You could tell, man. It really comes through. So we got one more question. I'm going to give it to Lewis. Are there any unexpected lessons you've learned about consumer behavior in the non-alc category, and how does this brand fit into your legacy?
Well, legacy, I never really think about legacy, to be honest.
You already have it.
Yeah. No, I think what's been surprising is to see that I wasn't alone. There's other people out there that have been wanting an alternative. There's been a bit of a void for some time, and it's been really incredible to, I'm learning about the business through Casa Lima, and being at an event like this and meeting people and just seeing what it takes to make this industry tick and move. And it's and to speak to different retailers around the world, particularly here in the States, and what they have to go through. It's really been incredible. I've met a few people already tonight, and it's as I said, I'm learning along the process. This is my first. And so I'm really enjoying it.
So this is a really hard business, but you have...
I can tell.
You have a lot of momentum, man. Congratulations. On behalf of the whole industry, we're wishing you a ton of success. We're so grateful that you came today. We know you got to get out of here.
Pleasure.
So
yeah,
everyone, thank you for Lewis Hamilton.
Thanks so much, man. Thank you. Pleasure. Hey guys, thank you, Danny. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good job. That was pretty cool. That was actually really, really cool. What an insightful panel. You can try Malve at the happy hour this afternoon, which will be great. So I finally get to get off stage.